What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Taking Command with Josh Taylor here on the JTFB YouTube channel. And we're just about a month away from training camp. I will be in Ashburn, Virginia for those first 3 days of training camp. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right at the end of July, whatever that last weekend is. But I will be in Ashburn doing a ton of content for y'all, catching y'all up on everything, looking at those position battles, and just keeping y'all up to date on all the news and information, everything going on in training camp. So hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and as always, like if you enjoy what you see, and leave some comments with your thoughts on the videos. And on this episode, I dropped a graphic the other day, and I asked y'all on Twitter, at Josh Taylor FB, by the way, which player had a better chance of breaking out this season between De'Ami Brown and Cole Turner. So on this episode, I'm not going to talk about just those two. I'm going to give you my best breakout candidates for the 2023 season coming up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why. So first off, I'm going to go with a guy who he's one of my guys. You can see the helmet down there signed by him. And I'm not just saying this because, there's a little bit of Penn State bias there. But I truly think that Jahan Dotson has a chance to break out this season. And for us Washington fans, we know how good Jahan Dotson is. We saw how that rookie season looked, even with his injury and him missing some time. He was one of the best, if not the best, rookie wide receivers I saw last year. I am really curious of what that production would have looked like if he didn't miss any time, if he really would have gotten a full season, and if he had a legit quarterback play throughout the season. And you know what? I will even say it. Kudos to guys like Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who also were phenomenal rookie wide receivers that balled out with inconsistent and not the best quarterback play. So when you look back at last year, really good rookie wide receivers. In my opinion, I think Jahan Dotson has a chance to break out in this upcoming season. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why. So I'm going to take a look a little bit at his profile from last season. I'm going to back up everything I say. I'm not going to just, throw out a bunch of stuff like some of these fantasy football guys coming at me today saying that Sam Howell is all of a sudden just not a mobile quarterback. But I digress. Yes, we know Sam Howell is not Lamar Jackson. But anyways, this is not about Sam Howell or fantasy football community. This is about Jahan Dotson. So Jahan Dotson last year, and coming into the NFL, a lot of things were, or a lot of people, media, scouts, whatever, were saying, hey, our one concern about this guy is that he is too small. I can see it. Yeah, he's a little bit smaller, 5'11", 182. I get it. But people were hitting him with that slot receiver label quick. And I'm here to tell you that is not at all what Jahan Dotson looked like. I know it's kind of small, but if you take a look at the position breakdown of really where he lined up last year on PFF, the numbers might surprise you. He had 651 total snaps where he lined up, and he was only in the slot for 179 of those, and he was out wide 472 outside opposite Terry. So right away in that rookie season, he debunks this whole, he's only a slot receiver guy. And then, even some fans were like, hey, I don't know about this pick. Don't really know much about him. We have Curtis Samuel as our slot guy. How is Jahan Dotson going to fit? And I think at Penn State, he showed that he's, not just a slot receiver, that he showed that he was an outside receiver. But I think really his first season in the NFL, he showed that, in my opinion, he has the upside to be one of the best wide receivers coming up in the future. I think, honestly, wholeheartedly, that Jahan Dotson has everything it takes to be a top 10 receiver in this league, and I'm going to tell you why. When you look at the tapes, and I'm going to switch this over to another profile for Jahan Dotson. When you look at the tapes, what really stands out to me and impresses the heck out of me, and I'll say, doing the scouting academy, wide receivers is what I focus the most on. Wide receivers is what I feel more comfortable out of any other position in the NFL, taking a look at, watching the tapes, being able to evaluate players. The thing that I loved the most about Jahan Dotson was, he didn't play small. If you go back, just look up Jahan Dotson versus Shaun Wade, Ohio State versus Penn State, where he goes up and does a one-handed catch over Shaun Wade. He does not play his size, that competitive ability that he has, the play strength he has, but also the play speed that he has. I'm not talking about a 40 time. I'm not talking about how quick he is in practice, stuff like that. I'm talking about how fast Jahan Dotson is when he is suited up and he is on the field and the game is going at a full speed. I'm telling you guys, if you go back and watch the games last year, I'll even say specifically that last game of the season, the ones that stand out play wise is, the opportunities where he got missed deep by Taylor Heineke and Wentz. But the one against the Giants, that night game where he had that big time catch from, there was a throw from Taylor Heineke, big time catch. Did not see that coming. First play of the drive, blew the top off that place. I almost fell out of my seat because it was coming towards me. It was at a point in the game where I'm like, all right, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll come back, whatever. Like, we just got the ball. I don't expect this to go down the field. And then, boom, first play, Jahan Dotson just blows the top off. He has that home run ability to just, in the blink of an eye, make a big play happen. Being able to get that separation and going deep. And that's one thing I want to talk a little bit more about is separation. I'm going to do a whole video of talking about Jahan Dotson, just, year 2 expectations, that sophomore year. And Matt Harmon, who's a phenomenal guy, who, big time wide receiver guru, has the reception perception on Twitter. Love their content. He is a big Jahan Dotson fan. We'll try to get him on here and do a show talking about Jahan Dotson year 2. Probably talk about Terry and Curtis as well. But with Jahan Dotson, the thing I love is he had the most reliable hands out of any wide receiver in the draft class last year, and I think he showed that in his first year. If you look, he only had 3 drops according to PFF throughout the whole season, which I'll take all day long. And the ability he has to get separation, his release package is of a veteran status. It reminds me of like a Doug Baldwin and Antonio Brown, some of these top tier release package guys. Amari Cooper is another one who's one of the best in the NFL. Jahan Dotson's release package is ridiculous. And what impresses me the most is that it's in these situations where it's hard to get that separation, like in the red zone. Do you remember how he had 3 red zone touches on like his first 4 catches in the NFL? Like, it was ridiculous. Jahan Dotson knows how to get open, whether it's against man, if you're going to press him, good luck. But then also in the zone, he has the IQ to know where he can read these defenses and find those empty spots in his route and get open. I'm looking forward to doing a whole episode about Jahan Dotson because I could literally talk about him forever. So I'm not going to go too much in depth. Oh, I can zoom in on PFF. But just showing you how dynamic he is, how high his receiving grade was last year. That short 0 to 9 yards, a 97.2 grade. 10 to 19 medium range, 90.3 grade. And then deep, a 98.7. He had 7 catches for 220 yards, beyond 20 yards, receptions, and then 2 TDs. I mean, he had a total of 7 touchdowns in his rookie season. Like I said, we know that it was a shorter season because of his injury. But I'm telling you guys, this guy feasts. The only spot where he really struggled last year that I want to see a little bit more of. But this is, I don't want to say this is more of Curtis Samuel and then Antonio Gibson's kind of role here, but just behind the line of scrimmage. Didn't do the best behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, he had, 9 targets behind the line of scrimmage last season. Didn't make the most out of them. Cool, it's whatever. But the production is anywhere short, intermediate, and deep. Intermediate, he was more average than he was short and deep. But still, like, out of 1 year, the sample size we got out of Jahan Dotson is phenomenal. So I think Jahan Dotson's in a perfect situation. And not even just talking about him, but talking about having, and I pray to God, a consistent quarterback 1 next season where he can just show what he can do. So Jahan Dotson, the sky's the limit for year 2. I think this is the year he really breaks out. Like I said, us Washington fans know how good he is, but the outside media, not everybody, but some of them, don't really know how good Jahan Dotson really is. So I'm going to go over to the defensive side, and this is a guy that I was really big on when we drafted him out of Michigan. And he's got a big-time opportunity. That's one thing with some of these, breakout players. Do they have the stage? Do they have the opportunity to, be able to break out? And in my opinion, I think this player really does. Kind of slow coming on. This is a position that a lot of us had some concerns in. I still do, but I think this guy is really poised for having the opportunity to do something big. And John Keim came out today. So all of the ESPN writers got together, covered all 32 teams. They got together and gave their one guy that has stood out to them so far in training camps kind of like a surprise player to keep an eye on. And he went with linebacker Khalik Hudson. We signed him for another year this past offseason. This is what John Keim had to say. Hudson is a backup / special teamer in his first 3 seasons. Worked with the starters during the spring in part because Jamin Davis was recovering from his offseason knee injury, and free agent signee Cody Barton was working with the backups as he learned the defense. Hudson impressed the coaches, however, building on a successful start in the regular season finale. He played fast this spring as he did in the finale against Dallas. While Washington entered the offseason wanting to improve linebacker depth, Hudson's one-game performance as well as this spring put that quest on hold. So we talked about how bad we needed to go sign one of these veteran linebackers or get someone in the draft. Go back to that Dallas game, which is the game he's talking about, the last game of the season, the Sam Howell game, whatever you want to call it, the grand finale to the season. Khalik Hudson was all over the field. It wasn't just on special teams when he had that opportunity on defense to make big plays. If you remember after the game, Khalik Hudson got one of the game balls in addition to Sam Howell in the locker room from Ron Rivera himself. So I really think the sky's the limit for Khalik Hudson. He's already been impressive in minicamp, got an interception off Sam Howell. He's looked much better in coverage so far this spring. So this is a guy I'm keeping an eye on. I'm telling you guys, when I go to training camp, I'm looking at these linebackers. I'm looking at my guy, Jamin Davis, Cody Barton. I'm keeping an eye on Khalik Hudson because there has to be something there for this coaching staff to be like, hey, guys, we do not need to go out and spend a couple $1 million on this veteran. Let's develop some of these young players that we've done so well, like Cam Curl, Derrick Forrest, Percy Butler's getting up there, some of these outside guys. There's a lot to be had in a young guy like this. And I know in his first 3 seasons, didn't really do too much. But this 4th season here, he really has an opportunity to break out, in my opinion. So I got one on offense, one on defense. There's a couple guys I was stuck on that I really wanted to go with this one. But I'm talking about a guy that I mentioned in that graphic, and it's not De'Ami Brown. I'm going with Cole Turner. I really think Cole Turner, and there's not much to bring up on him to talk about because he didn't really have that much opportunity last year. He had some injuries. You remember he got that concussion from that one Heineke throw, came down hard. He just kind of got banged up. But then he was also kind of learning this new role of having to be in line, having to be a blocking tight end. I don't think Eric Bieniemy is really going to come in into this offense and say, hey, Cole Turner, I need you to get in line. I need you to learn how to block some of these edge rushers, so on. I don't think that's what EB's going to do. I think EB's smarter than that to say, hey, you're a legit receiving threat. You showed that in Nevada. You had more touchdowns than any tight end in the country at Nevada in your final season. And he is just a receiving weapon downfield, the ability to run some of those 9 routes, line up in that Y spot and really just exploit defenses across the middle of the field, matchups with linebackers, some slower corners and some safeties. I feel really good about Cole Turner. I think he has the opportunity to break out. I'm not saying he's like guaranteed to break out or anything, but I really strongly feel like him and Eric Bieniemy are going to have a good relationship. I'm not big on John Bates. He had showed a couple things last year, but I've never really been a fan of his game. Honestly, it bores me, and I hate to say that. I just don't see much there. He had a couple key plays last year, that touchdown in the end zone. I don't remember who we played, but I was just like, okay, Bates is doing enough. But then with Logan Thomas, we don't know. And I said I didn't think he was going to make the team this year. We don't know how he's going to look. Is he going to look as stiff and uncomfortable and just not that same Logan Thomas that we saw, the last few years? Because last year it was rough to watch, to be honest with you. I hate to say it, but there's not the Logan Thomas that I remember, going up and getting passes in the end zone against the Eagles and so on. I need that Logan Thomas back. And if he's not, and if he gets hurt again, it's the prime stage for Cole Turner to come in and get some targets first off from Sam Howell, who, once again, like I'm saying, our passing game is going to be much improved this year, especially if we go with Sam Howell throughout the entire season, God forbid, barring any injuries, anything. Even with Jacoby Brissett, I feel like the quarterback play is already much improved just having those 2 guys as quarterback 1 and 2. I don't even care what the combination is. 1 is 1, 1 and 2. I don't care. I feel like the quarterback play is much better this year. So it gives the opportunity some of these guys like Jahan Dotson to break out and Cole Turner to break out. So I think that he has a legitimate shot to break out. And there's another guy. This is the last one. I might give you a little one to think about just to marinate on at the end. on offense. I'm not going to say who yet. But there's a guy on defense who, in my opinion, has a opportunity to really break out because we didn't know what his fit was going to be like on this team. And there's still a couple things right now. Drafting Quan Martin, don't know where he's going to play. I think he's going to be primarily the starting nickel corner. He has the opportunity to play some free safety, some single high safety, whatever by himself. But in my opinion, I think this guy, who is still super young, made the most out of a lot of opportunities last year. And that's Derrick Forrest. Had some big time interceptions, but he showed me that he can come out of nowhere. You remember that Texans game where I think St. Juice popped that pass up. Derrick Forrest comes out of nowhere on the screen and just as he's diving out of bounds, goes for that interception. I'm like, holy smokes, Derrick Forrest plays with a ton of momentum, plays with a ton of confidence, and in my opinion, has a bright future ahead of him. So really, I'm ignoring these grades for Forrest because there was only like a certain sample size. Yeah, he got some pretty good reps coming on later in the season, but I'm really looking at is here the snap counts and where they really played him, because I think that's going to be a big part of how he can break out. I think when you look at this secondary next season, obviously Cam Curl is a starting safety. We have our corners, like we have a good combination. A couple of different things we can do at corner. In my opinion, Derrick Forrest showed me last year, especially late in the season when he got a lot more snaps. That last game of the season, he had 43 passing snaps. Week 11, he had 42 passing snaps. That's a lot for a guy who's in a very deep safety room. But I think that Derrick Forrest is going to play right here. 485 total snaps at that free safety spot. What that tells me, and he showed this on tape, I'm telling you guys, go back and watch the film. Don't just say something to say something like some of these other guys in the fantasy football community. Not all of them. I'm just harping on this one idiot who tried to say that Sam Howell was not a running threat. And that's harping on me all day. But anyways, Derrick Forrest has shown us that he can play free safety, but more importantly, and Washington doesn't do this a ton yet. They might. We'll see. Play that single high safety by himself, saying, guys, I got this. I can cover this whole backfield by myself. I have the range and the ability to go sideline to sideline. Like I was telling you about in that Texans game, that interception on the sideline. He came out of nowhere. Derrick Forrest has great instincts. He has high speed, and he just plays with a ton of momentum. And the guy's all over the place. Every time there was a big-time play, I'm like, who's that? Derrick Forrest. The Eagles game, the interception, Derrick Forrest. The Jaguars game, Derrick Forrest came out of nowhere when Cam Curl was hurt. He came in, Forrest was like, guys, I got this. Like, this is my time to shine. We heard about it in training camp, the year before last, how he was getting these interceptions. We're like, all right, we'll see what he does in the field. And he carried that over no problem. So I think Forrest has a great opportunity in a very deep safety room. Like I said, you got Percy Butler that can play free safety. I think he fits more as a strong safety, but he can play free safety. He can play in that box up front a little bit if we have to. There's a lot that Percy Butler can do. He showed some good things. He's still growing. He might be a great breakout candidate for the next season, not this one coming up. But I think that Derrick Forrest is going to take that free safety spot and be a full-time starter there this season. He was phenomenal last year for another one of these later mid-round draft picks that we got out of Cincinnati. Just being able to develop these safeties like we did with Cam Curl, it's going a long ways. Like, say what you want about this coaching staff, but they are doing a phenomenal job at drafting some of these really good gems, especially in the secondary, and making them, break out and have their potential. So I think that's why Derrick Forrest has a great opportunity to be a breakout player. So Jahan Dotson, I think he's going to have a special sophomore season. I think that Khalik Hudson has a very good opportunity to break out and be one of these linebackers of the future. Maybe start opposite side of Jamin Davis. He can show that he, can rush the passer. He's great at stopping the run. But then also, more importantly, when you only have two linebackers on the field, being able to be not only just dependent in coverage, but, above adequate in coverage. Like, I need someone that can get turnovers, someone that can create pass breakups, stay with those tight ends. But then Cole Turner. We don't know what we're going to get out of Logan Thomas. We don't know what, Eric Bieniemy is going to want to do with them. I think Eric Bieniemy knows how to use Cole Turner and is going to really use his best tools and weapons to his advantage. But then Derrick Forrest, who I think one of the highest graded safety duos in the NFL last year was Cam Curl and Derrick Forrest. They were top 3 throughout the entire season last year and highest graded out of PFF. So I think Forrest has a great position to be that free safety of the future. Go single high if we have to with him. The secondary is going to be so good. There's going to be a lot of turnovers with the secondary. So I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Let me know who you think has the best chance to break out. Maybe it's someone I didn't talk about, like De'Ami Brown. And to be honest with you, my little sprinkle player, I think Sam Cosmi has a good chance to break out. I think the move from right tackle to right guard is going to be best for him for his size. He has that athleticism, then also with his arm length that really hurt him on that outside the tackle spot. I think moving him to guard, he's going to be able to use that strength and athleticism to the best of his abilities and help protect our quarterback. So let me know what y'all think. Who's breaking out next year? And like I said, subscribe to the video and like if you enjoy what you see. But let me know what y'all think. I'm probably gonna be cranking out a lot more content now. Now that I'm finally settled in and everything with training camp coming up, I'm gonna be doing some individual player videos, some more videos like this, like breakout candidates or like year 2 jumps and stuff like that. So let me know what y'all want to see. I'll probably be doing 2 to 3 videos a week moving forward. And then also as college football comes up, I'll be doing some more college football content on here as well. So if you want to look at just the Washington stuff, just check out the Taking Command with Josh Taylor tab with all those videos. But if not, just check out the full channel as I cover all things football with college and the NFL. So I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.